morning, ladies. How are you?
Great.
And how are you?
I'm good now. Now that y'all done got me together, y'all just don't know. We done had some laughs off this camera. But anywho, we are here with Miss Cheryl Smith and Mrs. Latanya Whitson. Mrs. or Miss? Miss Cheryl is the founder of Feed My Sheep, and Mrs. Latanya Whitson. It's an inside joke, y'all. It's an inside joke. She has been the president of this organization for the last 2 years. So today we want to just talk to you to talk about Feed My Sheep and what it's all about and how did it come to light.
Well, it's a long story, but it's Feed My Sheep Resource Center, Inc. And it was dropped in my spirit years ago, like in 1997, and nothing was ever done with it because I didn't know what to do with it. And so really in 2014, we started working on it. I kind of knew what, and I'm still learning as to what Feed My Sheep really is. But I was driving home one day and listened to the radio, and I wanted to do some things, and I heard the voice, Feed My Sheep. And I was trying to open up a business, and I had a pamphlet in the back, and I opened it up, and I'm like, every name was in that booklet except for Feed My Sheep. And
Wow.
I'm like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And as I kept going, the Feed My Sheep kept resonating with me. And it was back in March or April of that year, and I went to Holy Week service. And the last night of the service, I got to church late, and I sat in the back of the church, and the minister was saying the last 7 words. And the last thing he said, if you love the Lord, according to Peter, feed my sheep.
Wow.
And it just kind of messed with me. And so I was trying to figure out what is it. I've been praying and fasting, trying to figure out what is feed my sheep. And so I was laying in bed one day and crying and trying to figure it out because I thought that Feed My Sheep should have been something in particular.
Okay.
You have a doctor that are doctors, Lori teachers, there is a one single thing that they do. And so I was having this kind of conversation with God in the bed, and it wasn't a pleasant one. I was telling him, how I felt and what I wasn't going to do. And how
you was telling God that. How that work out?
Tell me about it. And I had never experienced a trance before, and I did. And he spoke to me at that point in time, and what he said, because I was telling him I'm all over the place, and I know you gave me Feed My Sheep. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'm doing. Forget it. I'm not even going to do it. You can have it. You can keep it. I don't know what it is. Da da da. And he spoke to me at that point in time. Yes, I have you all over the place. And yes, I told you to feed my sheep. He said, and you're all over the place because you can't feed my people the same thing all the time. Different people need different things.
Amen.
And then while I'm laying there, it was like, because I'm like, I'm not helping anybody else. He says, no, you keep helping people because I'm going to help you. And don't box me in.
Oh.
And that was the last words I heard. And I got up running to church that day.
I bet you did.
I wasn't going. I wasn't going. I got up running and still didn't know what it was. And I was in church one Sunday, and our pastor, my pastor at the time, called the youth up to pray for them back to school. And I was sitting in the back of the church, I guess being judgmental. I'm like, why are these kids in this church, come to church, how kids dress. And the Lord said, you start right there. I'm like, who, what, me? No, I'm not doing that. And so I found myself the next Sunday now in church skimming the congregation trying to see what's what. He said, I told you to start right there. And I'm like, what? Working with these kids? I'm like, okay. But I still didn't know what. And then he brought back to me, I remember when I used to model years ago, and when I got pregnant, my mother told me I had to make a choice.
Oh, wow.
Either model or have my baby. Well, of course I had my baby. After I had my baby, she said, why don't you open up a charm school? I'm like, I don't want to open up a charm school. And so the Lord brought all that back to me.
Wow.
And so thus came the self-esteem and etiquette piece, because that's all, back in the day, we called it charm.
Yeah.
And so I started doing some research back then to see what's prevalent in the area, and it wasn't. And so I went to a couple of church members, and I'm like, I think I'm going to write a grant. You going to help me if I write this grant? And so we wrote the grant. And I called it for the substance etiquette program. I called it Pearls after my mom.
Okay.
Poised, educated, adolescents reaching for life success. And I call it Pearls because that's what she had told me years ago that I didn't take heed, and that's why I try to tell kids nowadays. Sometimes it pays to take heed to what your parents are telling you. And we wrote the grant, got the grant, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this grant?
Right.
And so from that came the Pearls Etiquette program, and from there things just started happening. God kept reminding me not to box them in, and so what we do is we just do various initiatives for the underserved population in the area. So we may work with kids, we may work with seniors, we may work with boys. So he told me to box them in. So I'm still learning to follow his lead, and when he drops things into my spirit to follow, to feed his sheep, his people, he's still working with me, on exactly what that is.
Okay, so when you say the area, like what area are you?
Northwest Indiana, and Tri-City area, and wherever he leads.
Okay.
Wherever he leads, if there's a need and he drops it in my spirit, and I take it back to the boys and say, hey, let's do this because our people need this, no matter what age.
Okay. Wow, so we have Feed My Sheep, and from Feed My Sheep we have Pearls, and sometimes we go through life and we may not know exactly, just like you said, what it is and what's meant to be at that moment. It can come to you years later, but like you said, you knew that it wasn't what you wanted.
Exactly.
But God called you to do it.
Exactly.
And then as things started falling into place, you remember the things that your mom taught you. So that's awesome, sisters.
Yeah.
So Mrs. Woodson, how do you come into play with Feed My Sheep?
Well, I had been watching Cheryl and some of the other members of Feed My Sheep working in the community and putting on programs, and it inspired me, but I was not a member at that time. I was doing some other things and working in the community, and Cheryl had approached me not to be a president but to become a member, and I was like, I don't know, I have a lot of things on my plate right now, but I continue
y'all
to
sound like twins.
Right.
But when you are called, go
but
ahead.
when you're called.
Yes.
And I continue to watch her with the youth, and of course when she needed my support and my help, I would do that. But she called me one day and she said, look, I really need for you to think about.
Did she say it like that?
I said, look.
She said, look, I really need for you to think about coming aboard because I feel that you'll be able to, help us out and do some great things. We can do some great things with one another. And we actually came over here.
Yeah.
And about 2 years or so. Yeah. And we prayed. We talked, we wrote down some goals that we wanted to establish, and I want to say that we're working on that.
Okay.
And then she said, I'm going to need you to be the president. I said, wait a minute. You just said I'm a member.
Well, you
when you are called.
Yes, exactly.
I said, where the president part come? But since then, I have to say that it has been a privilege. It has been an honor to work beside Cheryl because she is truly passionate about what she does.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Listen to God. Listen to God.
So it sounds like both of y'all still listening to God. This is what's gonna happen. So what are you doing? I know you mentioned seniors, you mentioned young men. Are there different programs that you have that you do with each?
Yeah, well, other
group?
than the Pearls, we had a boys group called Ingots.
Okay.
What is it? I can't think of the name of it.
That's okay.
Intellectually nurtured gents opting to serve.
Okay.
And we were working with boys. And since then, the gentleman that was working with our boys, Mr. Dwight Edwards, has passed.
Okay.
So that's on like a hold for right now, but we plan to get back with that.
Okay.
And we do an all-girls rock every year. All-girls rock, where we solicit young ladies through churches, organizations, schools, based on academics, community service, sports, and they're nominated. And then we give them awards, and we just had that this past summer.
Is this so? Last summer was the first time you did it?
No,
or-
that was the third time. Actually, the third time.
Third
The
time,
third time we
okay.
did.
And what are the age group for the
9 to 14. Well, the self-esteem and etiquette piece is 9 to 14, but the all girls rock is any age. Any age. So our goal is to have our Pearls Etiquette Camp in the summer, and then come out of that with the All Girls Rock
Okay.
as one of our signature events.
Okay.
And so after that, we'll be doing something else with our young men later on. And right now, we're getting ready to do. It's called "I Am My Mother's Daughter."
Okay.
That was drafted to me some time ago. And what happened was my daughter bought me a Mother's Day card.
Okay.
And I have it over there. She bought me a Mother's Day card, and it says, "I am my mother's daughter." And when I read it, it just stayed with me.
Kept resonating with
with
Yeah.
me. And then I'm like, I got to do something with this. Got to do something with this. And so that was a couple years ago. And
Okay.
then this past summer, I went to visit her, and I'm part of the women's ministry at the church. And they were asking, Miss Smith, Miss Cheryl, how do you work with, doing, you guys seem to be so close. You know how parents go through things. And I'm like, honey, trust me, we all go through it. We all go
Right.
through it. But after that time, it came back, maybe I just need to do this. I am my mother's daughter.
Mm.
So I called LaTanya.
The president.
I called the president. Hey, we got to do something with this. And so we started working on it and started putting together. And so in next month, November 5th, we'll be doing I Am My Mother's Daughter luncheon. It'll be the first one. And we hope to build on it every year.
Okay. Now, where will the luncheon be held?
At the Dynasty Banquet Hall on Calumet Avenue in Hammond.
In Hammond. Okay. And this is your first year doing this, or is this your second year?
This is the first year.
Okay.
First year doing this.
Okay, that sounds interesting. So besides, since both of you all are all over the place, tell me, what else is it that you like to do? Okay, guys, I am back with Miss Cheryl. Say hey.
Hey.
Miss LaTanya. And we just have some questions that we want to do. So besides being all over and feeding your sheep and messing with the pearls, what is it that you like to do?
I like traveling, shopping, of course. I love listening to music.
What kind of music you listen
I love all kinds of music.
Okay.
I just love music. Hip hop, country, gospel, of course, rap.
You be getting down the shirt.
As the old people say, just a tainch bit.
Just a tainch bit.
Yeah.
We can do it.
Yeah, and so I like things like that. I did say traveling. I like decorating.
Yes, you have a lovely home here.
Thank you.
Very nice.
I want to do voiceovers one day and maybe write a children's book. I want to do voiceovers. Yeah, we need to get together. I want to do some voiceovers.
Oh my gosh. So recently, I did a couple of voiceovers for flyers for Dialogue Wine Bar,
Okay.
because that's my spot.
I heard that.
That's my spot. But I did a couple, and I was like, I really want to do this. So I have been reaching out to different people. And when I was in Indy, when we went for the She Experience, I stopped at ABC's table. And the young lady that I contacted, she said there's actually a website out there. You just record it, send it in, and then people will reach out for jobs. So we
we got to get together on that.
we got
We
to
got to
do
get
that.
together on that.
All right, what about you? What else do you like to do? Go on and get her the mic.
Okay. Well, I like to write. As you know, I'm an author of Learn, Release, Walk. Gotta get it. Amazon.
And if you see on the street, just tell her you want it, and she got you.
And I also like line dancing.
She does. Let me tell you, that's her form of exercise. Now, I like to dance, but if she said, "Oh, you want to go line dance?"
I
let
go
you
line
have it.
dance every Wednesday at St. Timothy. So, anyone out there that like to line dance and learn new moves, that's the place to be. And I also love music as well. I love music. I
So
love
do you
walking.
sing?
No, I did not get that gift.
Oh, okay.
My family is gifted for singing, but I didn't get that. I don't know why. I often wondered, and if I started singing, my family would be like, you know what, Tony,
So just let it be.
let it go, let it go. You have other gifts, and that just wasn't one of them.
Oh my gosh! So yeah, you do a lot too.
Yeah, I do a lot. Yeah, I do a lot.
I'll get back into walking soon, but I ain't with
Not right
nothing.
now.
Ooh, Miss Sure, that's
I
you
enjoy
can-
walking too, though.
I enjoy
I
it.
enjoy
yeah,
walking.
but see, it's a story behind mine, and we ain't even got time for that.
Okay.
So, but just once again, I want to thank you both for giving me the opportunity to interview you. So, tell us again for your I am my mother's daughter.
And my mother's daughter.
Okay, so you have a luncheon coming up next month.
A luncheon November the 5th at 12 o'clock at the Dynasty Banquet Hall on Calumet Avenue in Hammond, Indiana. And it's for mothers and daughters. But also, if you don't have a daughter, you have a mother. And so it's a time, we'll be having a time of refreshing and bonding and reminiscing and just enjoying one another as women, mothers, and or daughters. So if you don't have a daughter, that's fine. You have a mother. So we encourage you to come on out. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be inspirational. And like I said, time of releasing and healing. Sometimes we go through things from our past that we need healing from when it comes to our mothers and our daughters. So it'll be a time of refreshing and healing and just inspirational time. So just come on out. The tickets are $25, only $25.
Okay.
So come on out and enjoy yourself.
And
we
how
look forward to it.
How can one get a ticket?
Okay, you can go to feedmysheepresourcecenterinc.com or you can call by calling 219-776-4157.
Okay, you all heard it here on Melanin Cultural Gems. Feed My Sheep, I Am My Mother's Daughter. Luncheon happening November 5th at what time?
12 noon.
12 noon. It's going to be at the Dynasty Banquet Hall in Hammond on Calumet Avenue, and tickets are only $25. And you said are you on Facebook? Are you on social media?
219-776. Well, we do have a Facebook page, Feed My Sheep Resource Center, Inc.
Okay.
But you can also get it by 219-776-4157.
All righty. Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you. We enjoy it.